Hi everyone, welcome back to Just STEM Stuff. My name is Gitanjali Rao, and I'm here to share with you everything about STEM. I know it's been a while since I last posted, and I've been out busy running workshops, traveling, and helping bring the concept of innovation to life one student at a time. But I wanted to come back here and share something that I wish I could share with every student out there. What exactly is the process of innovation, right? And so I've worked with tons of students across the world, but the biggest thing that I've learned is each and every one of us have the potential to come up with ideas, but the way that which we do it is different. We might go through a different step of the process. We might use different technology out there. But when I think about my innovations, they all started small, right? I started with learning some sort of concept. I started coding for the first time, and then I turned that into AI and machine learning. And then I started applying those concepts into problems that we see in society, for example, cyberbullying. And from there, what that allowed me to do is learn even more things and apply it to where I can. And that's exactly what innovation should entail, right? But enough about me, because when I often tell people about my ideas, a question I commonly get is, okay, now how do you do it? Two, where do you start? And three, can anyone do this? And my answer to all of them is actually this very broad answer of just yes, right? Anyone who is tuned in here can innovate, regardless of your age, your gender, or your race, right? Innovation comes from the heart, it comes from passion. But I want to give you my process as to how you can go about innovation and how you can bring an idea to reality. Right. And I do realize it's super easy to get stuck in all these different terminologies and vocabulary and processes and definitions that you have to memorize. And trust me, I went through the same experience. So I want to share something a lot simpler and that worked for me with all of you. So distilled down to 5 steps, here's my process of innovation. It is observe, brainstorm, research, build, and communicate. Each step of the process has its own significance towards coming up with a solution. And I share this process with several students across the world, and I've received tons of positive feedback, and hopefully we'll receive more from you guys as well. So the biggest thing that I've learned is that we don't need expensive resources to start innovating, right? And with the students that I've worked, they've really brought that idea to life. So let's walk through each step of the process at a high level and then dig in deeper. So first and foremost, observe, right? Pay attention to things around you. And it could be your home, your community, your local or national news, your school, or just an activity that you like, right? Try to identify problems that have either been discussed before you or that are very obvious to you, right? These problems that you recognize as big problems in society as well, right? Now, the way I like to think of it is coming up with these sentences, right? So I love doing this, but this will allow me to make it better. And there you go. That's a problem that you've identified in your community. For example, my brother came home one day with a simple question that he gets confused between what he can recycle and what he can throw away, right? Even if things are made out of paper and plastic, there are rules on what can and what can't be recycled. And he was right, right? I get confused if potato chips and other snack bags and fruit bags and anything are basically recyclable or not, right? The most confusing thing for me is a Pringles can. So when you look at a problem like that, start with narrowing down the problem further. Is it just my brother? And is it just me who didn't know what to recycle, or did the whole school not know, right? Now, next, identify the problem further, right? Is it because there's no clear instruction about it, or because, as kids, we forget what to recycle or not? Now, there are simple tools that you can use for more complex problems, right? I personally use something called a fishbone diagram, which you can see right here, and a four square model, because I was introduced to those by my parents in their professional life. Now, they may look a little bit intimidating in the beginning, but remember, this is just another tool that you can use. Now, next step, brainstorm. I like to say quantity over quality is key in this step. Write down all the possible ideas to solve the identified problem. And from there, you're going to start with some initial research. Second, come up with a list of ideas. No idea is good or bad at this stage. And I truly mean that. And third, organize your ideas. Okay, let's go back to this recycling example, right? My brother came up with technology, process, educational materials, announcements, and many more ways to solve the issue of recycling the right materials. And then he broke those categories up into education, recycling, and sorting of materials, right? So the tools that I love to use are basically just grouping them on a board using sticky notes or just writing them on a sheet of paper. when you can group your ideas together into different categories, it allows you to narrow it down, right? The output of brainstorming is just a ton of ideas that you can and you will narrow down in the next step, which brings us to 3, research, right? Spend time on a computer, books, and other materials. So look for resources that are in the area of relevance to the problem as well as potential solutions, right? And attempt to narrow down your ideas to one primary likely one. So what that means is talk to people who have this issue, understand what they go through, and that'll help you get a feel of what will help them. So, for example, you can find mentors, experts, and people who know more about the issue. You can also understand the current solutions that people are using out there. And you can also come up with some sort of design criteria for what you want to build based on your research. Now, you can also identify a solution that is feasible, cost effective, and user friendly. And something that I like to do is build a timeline for yourself to start working on the solution that you are basically dreaming of at this point. Now, what I like to use here is a matrix, right? And that you can see over here, and again, looks very intimidating, but it's almost this mathematical way to determine the right solution I want to focus on based on the impact that it can make. Now, the fourth and my favorite step, build, right? Take some time to ideate, sketch, or build what exactly this vision of yours might look like. And I like to say it's better to do this earlier than later since it allows you to visualize your work, even if your work is in progress. It truly does not have to be perfect, right? And doesn't have to have the most expensive materials behind it. Start with cardboard, milk cartons, whatever you find around the house, then divide the entire solution into small components and go for the easier ones because it gives you motivation. So in my case, I love seeing app screens. So I always start with those and build my way up. And sometimes I need an outer cover if there's nothing inside, so I'll use a software to 3D design an outer cover. And it could be anything that keeps your motivation to keep building, right? So you don't necessarily have instructions on this step. Now, last but not least, the underdog, the one that is very underrated, which is communication. It's always important to tell others about your vision, your idea, your work, so that you spread awareness on the problem you're solving and you make others aware of what you've done to tackle it. For example, you can write it down, make a video, make a vlog, just like this one, talk with mentors, experts, users, and ask for feedback, right? You can also compare your idea to gain more feedback so that you're motivated to keep working and earn recognition to invest in your product. And you can do that through competing as well. So I think the importance of this is when you basically are able to communicate an idea, you feel like you're spreading awareness of something, even if your idea isn't completely finished out there, right? So saying all of that, those are my 5 steps to innovation. And I think it's important to say that our generation is growing up in a place where we're seeing these problems that have never existed before. And kids like us are raising our voices, but there's a need for us to basically use our hands, right? To build and suggest ideas that will impact the future, that will impact our communities. So saying all of that, thank you for listening. Hopefully you learned something and hopefully you can bring your ideas to life because we can definitely use more ideas out there. So if you like this video, make sure to hit that like button down below as well as subscribe and stay tuned for maybe some more content on Just STEM stuff. It was great talking to you guys. See you soon. Bye.